The former host of the IORA Cup Series championship race is the venue for round 11 of season 4. Welcome back to the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Miami-Dade 150, and the driver's already on the move as it stands. You'll see Kenny Real on track. Qualifying is in full swing. As it stands, Ethan Stanley finds himself at the top of the board as qualifying will conclude, and 100 laps of hard-fought action in Florida are just ahead as drivers get ready to head into formation for tonight's race. Got a crowd now of 18 drivers registered for the 100-lap event. Comes out to just about 150 miles on the dot, and already your starting grid going to be put into position here. James Thurston going to be on the high side of the front row. Down low, Ethan Stanley returning for tonight's event, and you'll see from there on out, Kenny Real starting in third, Alexander Balderas then in fourth, and Chase Schaefer position number 5, alongside the litany of other drivers who have made their way to Miami to qualify for tonight's event. Championship battle is still going to be a big talking point tonight. Sean Conklin comes in your points leader. He is qualified in 7th, while the driver of the number 87, Daniel Mosteller, comes in 2nd in points, qualifying in 15th. So it's going to be an 8-place gap between your top 2 in the championship to kick off the night. Right now, you're going to see Ethan Stanley's number 91 machine is tonight going to look like the number 92. The Chevy Camaro making its debut this season in the IORA Cup Series, well known for being a fierce competitor all throughout the IORA's first 2 seasons, no matter what division. And right now, the number 91 machine, one of the many drivers on the starting grid. So without further ado, let's find out who's starting where in tonight's event here in Florida. The starting grid, going to see Ethan Stanley at the top of the board. Number 91 machine leads the way inside of her own number 1 and only took that pole position by 1,000th of a second over James Thurston, starting in the runner-up position. The Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport number 4 machine second on the order, and from there on out, position number 3 then going to be held by Kenny Real. Position number 4 then going to be for Alexander Balderas and the 095 machine. Balderas confident in his equipment tonight, hoping to chase what could be his first career IORA Cup Series win. And 5th place then going to be held by Chase Schaefer in the number 99. Vincent Guesci going to be in the 6th spot in a 09 machine, and Vinny's going to be just inside of her 03, just a few moments behind. You'll then look at Sean Conklin, and Conklin's going to be starting in 7th tonight as he comes in your points leader, looking for his 5th win in 11 races. Henry Kaloff is going to be qualified in 8th. The number 63 machine is going to be right in the middle of the field, and then from there you'll see John Smith qualified in 9th. 10th place to round out that top 10. It's going to be Jackson Carr and the number 83. And for Jackson Carr, making it just outside the single digit in qualifying, still a few more drivers to go. Ethan Eckert on debut is going to be driving in the number 12 machine tonight. Ethan going to be starting just outside of your top 10 as he makes his very first start in IORA competition. Alongside him, it'll be Will Shack qualifying in the 12th spot, and 13th then going to be held by Michael Deitch. River Page is going to be position number 14 in the number 24 machine, and Brandon Dugan from there on out going to be in the next row right beside Daniel Mosteller. Delos in 15th, and Brandon Dugan then in that 16th position. Finally, from there on out, your 2 drivers that round out the field, Casey Bent in the number 36 and Braxton Whitaker in the 51, the final driver in your 18-car field on Homestead. And now with the starting grid off your screen, it's time to get to the racing here in Homestead. The iRacing official pace car is set to drop in, this time by and that it will. Defending champion James Thurston is lined up on the front row beside pole sitter Ethan Stanley. Let's get the racing on its way. The green flag is out. Welcome back to the Homestead-Miami Speedway. at the stripe. Ethan Stanley going to lead the first lap of competition, getting that lead and now holding it as 3 wide. Alexander Balderas is going to wash way up to the top and find some trouble here, collected with John Smith. 95 machine saves it just barely. John Smith drops down to the bottom of the track, hits Balderas, takes Vinny Tigner. No, it's going to be Vincent Guecci as well, both of which collected, and just like that, the caution will fly. Number 12 machine goes around, not to mention Vincent Guecci, and just like that, the yellow flag is out. 2 laps in out of 100, and Alexander Balderas involved there with John Smith. Caution will fly. Number 95 machine seems to be one of the culprits of this one. 95 and 48 making first contact, and already trouble at the middle of the pack, and we will take an instant replay to find out just what happened. Alexander Balderas, John Smith, looks like a few other drivers getting caught up in it too, and we'll see how it all came down. You'll see Balderas got tapped to begin with, and at this point he was already loose, and then continues to find that contact time after time after time. John Smith gonna bump him one too many times, and this is the final hit. And you'll see from there, Balderas is going to send John Smith up the track, and while Alexander Balderas might have saved it, it looks like John Smith, not in the same mindset, he will go around. Vincent Guecci gets a tap. Looks like Ethan Eckert gets a piece as well, comes right up on top of Alexander Balderas, and the caution flies for the first time of the night. Yellow flag out, only 3 laps in out of 100. We have early trouble, and we are back under pacing with one driver backwards as it stands. Looks like that's going to be John Smith making his way down and in, and the caution flag is out here in Homestead. Balderas is still getting on the track. Ethan Eckert will spin, and we got another incident back of the field. Already looks like some chaos in play, but for your leaders, Ethan Stanley, James Thurston, they're staying calm up in front. 4 laps in out of 100, and so far so good for Ethan Stanley, back from a hiatus in the IORA Cup Series, not having the time to run these Cup Series events, but tonight luckily the schedule opens up and we get a chance to see a bit more about what Ethan Stanley's all about, especially in the heat of the moment. So right now, Ethan Stanley doing very well up in the front of the field. James Thurston now going to be the driver in second indeed. And then Chase Schaefer's in third. River Page, position number 4. Looking further back, you'll see Michael Deitch now going to be in ninth. He's able to avoid the trouble early, and avoiding the trouble, that's how Michael Deitch has seen some very successful runs, most recently on iRacing, getting that so close victory in a FORL. It came down to he and Dustin Pickle, and just by 33 1,000ths of a second, Michael Deitch, not the winner, just couldn't work out the way he wished it would. So the Jimmy John's number 57 currently runs in ninth, and inside the single digits from Michael Deitch. Early yellow flag. We are going to be back under pacing. It is Ethan Stanley up in the front of the field, James Thurston second, and Chase Schaefer in thirds. We're set to go 1 lap to green this time by, and we will restart, hopefully, 6 laps on the board, if not 7. Now, some drivers went down to pit road. Looks like Alexander Balderas, one of which he's on pit road with substantial damage. He'll get a fast repair, and just like that, his damage is gone, so he has a second chance immediately used, but it means he'll have to run almost the entirety of this race without that second chance in his back pocket. So he used it, which is a good thing to get him out of that pickle. But in case something else happens, really not going to be easy for someone to make time and get back up there, especially without being aggressive. And now, if you're aggressive, you might get caught in a wreck. You might have to end your race involuntarily, and you really don't want to do that here. So it's a balancing act, and even more so for the drivers who do indeed have to work with that limitation. Leaders, though, and in particular, Ethan Stanley, he does not have to worry about wasting his fast repair. He still has it, has chosen, of course, not to use it. And as your leader, 5 laps in out of 100 is Ethan Stanley, leading from James Thurston and River Page, position number 3. 4th place then going to be occupied by Kenny Rio. 5th is going to be held by Sean Conklin. It'll be Henry Kaloff in 6th and Jackson Carr. Then in 7th. 8th is going to be Michael Deitch. 9th is then Daniel Mosteller, and Brandon Dugan rounds out the top 10 with a choose rule for the first time put in use. And now it's time to get things rolling once again. With the driver, the number 91 up in front is Ethan Stanley, still your leader. James Thurston goes high yet again. Side by side, your top 2 drivers to start this race are still in the exact same positions. Looks like Chase Schaefer going to be outside the cockpit for now. Just got things back rolling. 17th place for Chase Schaefer, nearly 1 lap down, but he'll be back up with the leaders in due time. He'll be set to restart with the rest of the field. No harm, no foul. Ethan Stanley, though, he knows that he has not had a lot of time with these drivers, especially as of recent. So he's got a lot to learn in terms of how these drivers race now. Even though it's been a mostly clean season, a few drivers coming in for the first time, and that is the result. We saw some guys we have not seen throughout the entirety of this campaign, and as such, early yellow flags, some aggressive driving, some inconsistent racecraft, and it leads to yellow flag number 1 in the first 2 laps. Now time to get back at it and hopefully stay a bit cleaner and a bit greener. Green flag going to fly this time around, and we will have Ethan Stanley leading, James Thurston in second. Kenny Reel is now going to be high side with River Page in third, as the green flag will fly all over again in the hands of the Chevy Camaro out in front. Ethan Stanley leads, and we're back on our way with restart number 1. And Thurston drops down. Big hit for Sean Conklin. Immediately, 2 drivers go around, and just like that, the caution flies yet again. James Thurston, defending champion who won it at Homestead, goes spinning immediately, and just like that, the yellow flag out once more. Here's an instant replay to show you a bit more about what just happened. And take a look back here with James Thurston in the mix here. You'll see he's up there with Sean Conklin, head of the field. These guys were running inside the top 5 and even fighting for a podium at the very beginning. Thurston's going to shoot up to the top of the track, and he stays there, of course, to begin this. And all of a sudden, looks he gets loose, trying to use that grip up top. Doesn't really come into his favor, though, so he's going to slam down low to Sean Conklin, take both of them down to the bottom. And just like that, no major damage, but 2 front runners getting caught in the mix of a very risky racing moment, and James Thurston gets the worst of it as he's the guy who starts the wreck. Yellow flag is out 8 laps out of 100. We have not been able to get more than 1 green flag run in terms of 1 green flag lap. So trouble's early as James Thurston's going to fade back big. Now some drivers fake low. Looks like Daniel Osteller is not about the show. He's for real. He'll go down to the bottom and go to pit road early. While Ethan Stanley, River Page, and Jackson Carr now comprise your top 3 after a major shakeup oh so soon. And a very fast change of pace here. 9 laps in out of 100 live on FTN. And I'll tell you this much, when it comes to being, of course, a provider, lap 9 in any lap on FTN, Tango Paints had you covered. For high-quality sim racing paint schemes and liveries, check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information. At the top left of your screen, it's spelled exactly as such. Tango Paints on Twitter, your one-stop shop for iRacing liveries and paint schemes since 2021. We'd love to have you join as a member of the Tango Paints family, and be sure to check them out after tonight's broadcast, as we'll bring you our first Tango Paints promotional break of the day. And set to return now, 10 laps in out of 100 when they cross the start-finish line. Risky way to start this race here in the IORA Cup Series. Trouble 2 times over, and the second caution is already waived, which would put us technically on pace for 20 cautions. Now, that's not all too realistic, but it could happen. So as it stands, early troubles, and hopefully we'll shake them off and get things going from there. However, we got to see what these guys like River Page, Ethan Stanley, and the like up in front can do, as now we got drivers up at the top of the board looking to fight for the checkered flag, just not being given that chance to go battle for the race lead under green. Now we're hoping to see that chance come to fruition as we come down with half a lap to go before our second restart of the race. 10 laps in out of 100, James Thurston and Sean Conklin, and of all the drivers we don't expect mistakes from, those might be 2 of the biggest names up there, and tonight it looks like already they fall as a susceptible victim to the trickery of the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Yellow flag is out, and it's been already a troublesome night for some drivers. No major damage, but quite a lot of big hits overall. And now, time to get reset, get reloaded, and fight for another run. Restart number 2. This time by, it's going to be led by Ethan Stanley with River Page by his side. Green flag going to fly all over again. Pace car is down in. This time by, it's going to be Of course, give it to River Page and Ethan Stanley. Stanley in particular gets us back to the green flag, and we're back on our way here from Homestead. And the fight is on very early. You'll see Jackson Carr way up top, and the driver, the number 83 machine, making moves. All of a sudden now, it's going to be a huge run on the top side, and just like that, River Page making his way around. In addition, now you'll see further on the back of the field, Henry Kaloff, Alexander Balderas, and Kenny Reel. In particular, Balderas takes it low 3 wide, and even though he found himself way back in the field early, he's now making moves and hoping to get right back up there at the same time. Number 95, way low. It's going to be Henry Kaloff up top, side by side, and you'll see Kaloff there in the mix here. It's going to be the second group being used by Henry in the A-Game Chevrolet, but it's going to be the McDonald's machine going lower to try to cut that distance down and get by his competition. While Jackson Carr is going to be nearly up in the wall, and he's ripping the high side to much success already. Take a look now at Jackson Carr way up top, and he's got speed. Coming down the front straightaway, dives low, takes it 3 wide for the race lead, and all of a sudden, Jackson Carr making moves, looking for the top spot up in the front of the board. He'll go way down low and let River Page this time have the momentum. Page is going to use it to his advantage and get that race lead. A few scuffs back and forth, but nothing that'll hurt you. And all of a sudden, River Page has the top spot on the track. It's going to be Homestead-Miami Speedway, led by River Page and Ethan Stanley. Then in second with Jackson Carr. Then in third. Up top for the Red Bull 83 machine, it's still the podium being held, and he looks to be just good enough to clear. Third place for Jackson Carr after a daring move just 2 laps ago. Almost worked out, couldn't quite get there. Alexander Balderas now going to be right behind Henry Kaloff. Take a look on board with Balderas here as he continues to fight for position. And having to be oh so aggressive up in the front of the pack right now for Alexander Balderas. He's trying to get a nose under Henry Kaloff, but still hasn't found his way. Now keep in mind that Balderas has already used that one and only faster pair, your exclusive second chance, and you don't want to throw it out the window early. But for Alexander Balderas and this number 95 team, not much more they can do but swallow the pill and keep on moving. Going to be tricky to navigate this race's strategy, especially with that major disadvantage. But right now, that's exactly what has to be done in the mind of the number 95 team. They've just got to keep on rolling until the checkered flag falls. River Page is going to lead the way, and it looks like he's taking it from Ethan Stanley. Looked initially like it would be very challenging to pass that number 91, but Ethan Stanley giving way to a new driver up in the front of the field. And a nice start so far for River Page as he holds his own up in front. 16 laps in out of 100. Jackson Carr going to be third right now in that Toyota Camry. Alexander Balderas is going to be fourth. M. John Smith is now going to be the man concluding the top 5 with some pressure down low from Henry Kaloff as the number 63 machine looks to take it down to the bottom side. And James Thurston right there with them, neck and neck, side by side. For the most part, these drivers still bunched up with one another. Chase Schaefer taking it deep, lunging it into the middle of the corner. Henry Kaloff tries to make something happen, doesn't have enough room. He'll have to wash back up the track much slower, and that's the Chase Schaefer maximizing his entry and exit to get all that track real estate. And when you use that real estate proper, you'll be able to get more positions and get them quicker. Nice move there for Chase Schaefer as the number 99 machine's going to make more time. And now John Smith also in the mix, side by side between he and James Thurston, and Thurston looks to be dropping down a bit further than anticipated here after starting up in the front row, of course, but he's going to be making that time right back as he went to the back of the field with a wreck involving Sean Conklin. And now, even though Conklin is still not up with the front runners, it's James Thurston making moves and making time. As 18 laps in out of 100, he finds himself in 6th, going down low to make himself a driver inside of the top 5. A great way to get this thing going after 2 consecutive yellow flags. River Page going to lead the way. Ethan Stanley going to be second. Jackson Carr then going to be third. And Alexander Balderas is now going to be fighting for that spot. Number 95 machine going to try to lunge it deep into turns 1 and 2. Has enough momentum to make it nearly neck and neck. But Jackson Carr gets clear as they come right off the corner. So it's just going to be a short-term hope for the number 95 crew. And Alexander Balderas has to keep on fighting until the job is done. Right now, just hasn't been able to make that pass fast, but he's getting closer. Got by Henry Kaloff, and then eventually got through the pack that's right behind. You'll see there's Schaefer, Thurston, John Smith all racing each other, and they're racing hard as that number 4 machine goes up top. He'll go with John Smith of number 48, brings the 4 with them, and they'll be neck and neck here as they come off the corner. Smith in the prime video number 48 machine wiggles down low, and they'll be side by side down the back straights. And just like that, James Thurston going to be able to take a spot away quite easily on that top side. And even though he may look easy, of course, a lot of challenging factors in terms of racing here. The Homestead-Miami Speedway, this configuration, the dynamic groove, allows for almost every corner to be used no matter where you are on the track. You could be in the high side, you could be in the middle, and you could be on the bottom. Every groove has its own advantage, and for a lot of drivers, as of recent, that high side's been the best of the best. But if push comes to shove and you lunge it deep enough into a corner, you throw it down there on the bottom side, you can definitely fight to take away a spot, if not fully get that thing all out of sorts. The prime video number 48 machine going to be up on the top side still. You'll also look then at Jackson Carr, who's making moves as well, but he's making them just ahead. Still going to be in the fight with Alexander Balderas. Alexander is now going to drop it low. Jackson Carr's right up top. Number 95 machine tries to get the run, but again, washes up with little speed, and that momentum that he has off of turn 2, or the lack thereof rather, is really what's holding him back, and it's just a hard thing to swallow as a driver in terms of that performance. You got to understand, when you're looking at your situation, there are weaknesses, and there's most often nights where you're not the strongest driver in the field, and right now River Page and Ethan Stanley seem to be those two. They're racing even closer than we expected, as you'll see there. Ethan Stanley dropping down low, still following right behind in the wind of that number 24. River Page is down out of sight for many, but not yet out of sight for Ethan Stanley, because that number 92 machine on your frame is still fighting, and Stanley's going to be in the bottom. Jackson Carr right up top, again using that wall, and he'll try that maneuver of getting them 3 wide down the front stretch. Look at how much faster Jackson Carr comes through. That's where his advantage is in speed. Gets right up to the back bumper of Ethan Stanley once again, but we'll let him go through turns 1 and 2. Looks like he'll lie back once more, try to charge up that, of course, run with momentum. And take a look at this as he comes now through the backstretch, getting right back to Ethan Stanley again. It looks like he's getting much easier into the corners, and then putting all that power late to have that drive off. And that's the impressive aspect of his drive right now. It doesn't look easy. Of course, it looks he's honestly losing time through the first half of the corner, and then he comes back with a vengeance and drives out of his mind down the back straight, or the front straightaway especially, and then gets right back where he was before. And it's a cycle here, and it's a vicious cycle, because even though Jackson Carr definitely understands the momentum that he's using and how much he's getting out of it, he doesn't quite seem to understand how he can use that speed just yet, as he's going to take it 3 wide high, this time by River Page down low. Number 24 machine leads the way still, and Ethan Stanley keeping it close, but Jackson Carr looking to make it even closer. Now it's going to be River Page washing up just a bit, and Stanley's going to be in the middle. Jackson Carr's up high, and it looks like he will be clear. Green flag is going to see this run go longer and stronger as Jackson Carr takes the race lead for the first time tonight. And all of a sudden, the number 83 machine's got a good run off the corner to take it right by Ethan Stanley, and Stanley gets past. It's going to be now your new man up in front, Jackson Carr, blinking out just a bit, and in some big trouble in terms of his connection now, because that number 83 machine had no front end for a brief moment, and all of a sudden it just looks to come back like magic. So really tricky to find out what's going on with Jackson Carr's equipment, even though Ethan Stanley's still right there with them, and they'll keep on fighting right now, trying to understand the situation. Ethan Stanley goes down low. He thinks he's clear there, and it looks like he has a lot of room to River Page, but Jackson Carr, now that he's gotten right up there, side by side, and there you go. Carr's got the race lead, has himself there, and the number 83 machine's at the top of the board. Take a look off the rear view of your new race leader. And you'll see that time through turns 1 and 2, GAVINCAR not quite capable of really making it happen, and he got in the wall once or twice, and just like that, loses the race lead. 28 laps in, out of 100, it's Ethan Stanley leading. GAVINCAR going to be second, and River Page then in third. Alexander Belair is going to be fourth, and side by side, it's going to be now for fifth, Chase Schaefer and James Thurston. You'll see Thurston's going to be up there on that top side right now in the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport Ford Mustang. And for James Thurston, tonight, of course, he knows he's hoping to go back-to-back at race victories at this track, as he was able to get his first and only IORA Cup Series championship at this track in the previous season. Now, the history of the IORA Cup Series is much less diverse in champions as opposed to every other division this league has run. There's only two to this point, Daniel Mosteller and James Thurston, combined for the 3 championships that have been won in Cup Series history. Daniel Mosteller went back-to-back in seasons 1 and 2. James Thurston won the third, as Daniel Mosteller opted to take 1 season off of competition. And now Sean Conklin finds himself the points leader. And as tonight's going very well compared to Daniel Mosteller, it looks like Conklin will be able to stretch that points lead further, and tonight might be the night where the championship race really shifts in terms of that pendulum, and it could be the number 54 who finds himself with a major lead in the title battle. We're heading to an off week next week. Of course, Thanksgiving break coming up for all these drivers, so next Thursday we will not be racing. However, when we come back in 2 Thursdays' time, it's going to be a very fun race to watch, of course, as we keep the season moving. Homestead-Miami is a fan favorite and a driver favorite as well. These guys know very well how to command this track, and even though, of course, we saw the troubles early, it's not indicative of what these guys are putting on right now. However, what is indicative of the earlier troubles is our strategy race. And tonight, that has changed drastically. Estimates are saying that we have about a 35 to 40 lap run in terms of strategy. We are 32 laps into this race. Now, keep in mind we had about 10 odd laps of cautions, give or take, and that means we're about 25, 26 laps into the fuel run, all things considered. I'm not expecting a lot of these guys to be hyper-saving right now, but in the case they are, maybe they're even further into that advantage zone of having less wear and less use of the fuel. With that being said, we should be expecting our very first pit stops at around lap 40 or 45. And then from there, we'll move on and try to see what our next cycle is, because the race, once again, will not be evenly split. However, it might be a bit easier to get yourself with a 40-lap run, then a 30-lap run, and then a 20-lap run. That might just be where it comes down to 40, 30, 20, because we're not going to count those first 10 laps in the strategy call. So with that being said, it's going to be a much different look in terms of strategy when the remainder of this race gets back into play. It's Chase Schaefer first, Alexander Belair second, but that would be if this is the battle for lead, which it is not. They're fighting to get in the podium here, and it's going to be GAVINCAR who bobbles once again. Just doesn't have it in him, and it looks like as of recent, slamming that wall more and more. The Red Bull Camry hits it again, and now going through the corners is just losing more and more time. You'll see he's putting down that valiant effort up top. He looks much quicker because he is much quicker, but at the same time can hardly get in between the 2 drivers he's fighting against. And now down to the bottom side, GAVINCAR going to go for it all over again, slicing and dicing, and now going to be beating door panels with Chase Schaefer. Schaefer up top, GAVINCAR is down low, and they continue to fight here as we're now 34 laps in of 100. Now, when it comes down to the night's events on FTN, we got 2 broadcasts, and the next of which will be the Homestead-Miami Speedway as well. The reason is the Highline Racing League, and they'll be racing for their season finale. Scott Zellner has a major points lead. However, that doesn't mean he's winning the championship. It could be he or Adam Bozzi coming home with the title tonight, and you'll have to watch 134 more laps in Homestead to find out who comes home with the Highline Racing League Season 16 Championship. As it stands, the all-time winningest driver is the odds-on favorite to come home with the chip. Doesn't mean he'll do so, but it definitely means he's got a fair shot to get it through for what would be a record-breaking metric. He's got himself a total of 15 wins in competition in the Highline Racing League, the most of any driver to this point in league history, and still keeps on going. As a matter of fact, this is his best season so far on record. And it's a part-time campaign. Has not made every race. As a matter of fact, missed about 3 races on the schedule. And despite that fact, he's still fighting for the championship and has been the best man all throughout the season. Almost every time he gets out on the track, it's a top 5 finish, if not a podium, if not a win. So Scott Zellner's the guy to watch out for. 9:30 Eastern. We'll be back on FTN as a doubleheader here. Brings you out the IORA Cup Series and also brings you into the Highline Racing League immediately thereafter. Homestead-Miami hosts a doubleheader here live on FTN, and a very fun one to watch right now. Battles are forming. You'll see there, it's going to be the number 95 down low, Chase Schaefer in the middle, and Braxton Whitaker coming down to pit road, this time by a bit of damage on that number 51 machine, but we're going to shed the light on the paint scheme tonight. It is a special design for this number 51 machine. Now you'll see Braxton Whitaker's usual red, white, and blue look. It is not on the car. However, tonight, a member of the Whitaker family, matter of fact, Braxton's sister, designed this paint scheme for her brand new company, Sticker, which is, of course, a sticker company. Very nice look there for the number 51 machine, and a matter of fact, I do believe it's her birthday as well, so if she's watching, great to have you aboard here on FTN. It's a wonderful night for racing, and Braxton Whitaker with a beautiful paint job here, and hopefully get some traction for the business. And we're trying to find that right camera angle to show, once again, Sticker for the number 51 machine, new sponsor on board, and Braxton Whitaker representing proudly here as he finds himself on pit road, one lap down, make it 2, pit stop for the number 51 as we're set to get back on the move, 39 laps in out of 100. And right now, Ethan Stanley, your race leader once again, and nobody else in the same zip code as these top two drivers. I mean, Ethan Stanley running fantastic up in front. River Page has been able to keep up with him stride for stride. Very little difference between these top two drivers over just about 25 consecutive laps under green, if not more now. And now the caution will fly as soon as we mentioned. It's going to be Jackson Carr and Ethan Eckert slowed and stalled on the track. Yellow flag flies once again, and the caution's out. Let's find out just what happened here as the instant replay will tell you a bit more of the story. Now watching the replay, you'll see Alexander Bolaires side by side with Jackson Carr. They begin to rub fenders just a bit. Nothing major, and it looks like it becomes something major. Bolaires hooks him and takes Jackson Carr right up the track. 83 machine ends up lost. Ethan Eckert's going to hit him, and just like that, caution will fly. Ethan Eckert ends up hitting that number 83, and we'll see what it was like from his perspective there, coming into the wreck late. Bolaires making that quick hook, really nowhere for Jackson Carr to go. We'll see whether or not there was anywhere for Ethan to go here as we bring it back about a lap or so to watch his full perspective inside the cockpit of the number 12. Ethan Eckert, yellow flag involving he and the driver, the number 83, Jackson Carr, Ethan Eckert, and the caution is out. So let's find out just what happened here. Once again, looking on board with the number 12 machine and currently going to be running in the 15th position. One more look as the incident occurred. And the AutoZone number 12 machine going to take that pause, get things going once again. Trouble and damage for Ethan Eckert as the yellow flag will fly. Brandon Dugan scored as your leader, and the reason is pit road is busy. Right on board now, it looks like no longer with any driver. Chase Schaefer's going to get on his way. Ethan Stanley wins off pit road. Then going to be Schaefer, River Page, Sean Conklin, James Thurston, Alexander Bolaires, Kenny Reel, and then from there, Henry Kaloff in 9th with John Smith, position number 10. Right now, your top 10 gets back on the way. It looks like as it stands, the driver, the number 55, Brandon Dugan, going to be up there on the top side. Ethan Stanley going to be in 2nd. Chase Schaefer going to be in 3rd. And time to find out how Choose Rule is going to work out. As you'll see, Brandon Dugan makes his way in. Number 55 machine drops down low, which will give Ethan Stanley once again the race lead. And just like that, at the line, it's going to be 1 lap to green. This time around, that will not be the case. Matter of fact, it will be next time by Stanley, Chase Schaefer, River Page, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with Sean Conklin 4th, James Thurston 5th, Alexander Bolaires 6th, and Kenny Reel then in 7th. Now, this is your 3rd caution of the night in 43 laps, but after 10 consecutive laps under yellow to kick off the night, now we've gotten back going, and we've gotten ourselves a good green flag run. and our strategy is almost entirely decided. The reason being, 43 laps in out of 100, the estimated life cycle of the fuel and tires together comes out to be just about 35 to 40 laps, so we are expecting pit stops to become once again prevalent around the lap 80 marker, if not a bit later, and that's when we'll get things going once more for strategy. It's going to be now the caution flying once again. Ethan Stanley, River Page, and Chase Schaefer. That is your top two, and then your third, because the fourth, River Page, is still there too. And right now, as they all come through this time by, Page is actually going to be scored as your leading driver because he was down there on the apron, and that's cutting distance for you. You can't use that apron though when you're racing here at Homestead. Just not the right track and car combination to really make that work. But we got a little bit of time before the green flag flies, so why don't we take a little bit of a virtual track walk here in the Homestead-Miami Speedway and find out what's going on with one lap to green. Looks like our camera was on super speed there. Let's take that off and get back to our normal speed here in Miami. Now you'll see how the drivers progressively come up the banking here, and that's exactly what it's called. Progressive banking at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, one of the most prevalent features and one of its most iconic features. As you drop down low and you see how different the banking is from the bottom up to the top, it takes a lot of skill to understand the finesse of each and every groove. As we come around, there's one driver in Jackson Carr, and the prevalence of this banking all throughout the circuit gives way to guys who can run the high side, also gives way to guys who know how to dig it down low, and the versatility of a driver really matters here in Homestead, because if you can understand those lines, you won't have to shred the tires all too much, and come down to it, the tires are going to be a big piece of the pie. We get back to our strategy. This is a green flag run set to get in motion. There's James Thurston. There is Ethan Stanley. And now as the drivers fly by our drone camera, the iRacing official pace car set to let him go through. As the pace car will drop down and in this time around, it's going to be the iRacing official pace car leaving the field, and Ethan Stanley once again is its leader. Restart number 3 going to be back here for lap number 45. Green flag out, led by Ethan Stanley. Now it's going to be James Thurston already making that lunge down low. Take a look at the number 4 machine, and he's powering through. All of a sudden, the driver who looked to be out of luck early finds himself at the front of the field. James Thurston, the Homestead ace, is back on top, but Ethan Stanley's going to give him some pressure, and already that number 91 machine getting in the mix, and you'll see Chase Schaefer right there too. 3 wide for the race lead once again here in Homestead. River Page brushes the wall, and it looks like Chase Schaefer nearly backs out, but no quit here from Stanley or James Thurston, and it's been a long time since we've seen these two battle each other, but they are quite the duo when they get up in front. From the earliest days of FTN in the IORA Indycar Series to the earliest days of the IORA Cup Series and all the other series in between, these two drivers are IORA royalty. And even though Ethan Stanley doesn't have that Cup Series championship to show it, his performances in every secondary series we've had, well deserving of the title of one of IORA's all-time best, and back tonight to show that he's still kicking up in the front of the field. Running in third, he's led the most laps so far tonight. He's been fantastic to this point, and certainly is not done just yet. Leading the way, though, James Thurston out in front once more, and as they come across the stripe, mid-pack is in a frenzy, and Chase Schaefer gets the drive off the corner to take the race lead back in his hands. Such a change in just a few laps here. Now Schaefer and James Thurston are setting the tone and holding down the narrative up in front, whereas guys like Ethan Stanley or the Ryco Performance number 54 of Sean Conklin are lying back, and Conklin not as blatantly quick tonight. I mean, he's inside the top 5, but at the same time has not been the driver to watch all night long. Certainly, though, now as we get closer and closer to our halfway point, no reason to suggest that he will not be up there for the taking very, very soon. James Thurston going to be 4th, and River Page is going to be 3rd. Ethan Stanley 2nd, and Chase Schaefer's then going to be 1st. Right now, that number 99 machine has the race lead, but not by all too much, as the battle is still raging. It's going to be Stanley right behind. Not to mention, you got River Page looking for a position. James Thurston right there too, and even in the mid-pack, they're getting closer. Daniel Osteller going to be with John Smith right now, and Henry Kaloff right there in the the middle of the battle, they'll all be clashing with one another until the checker flag falls. Expect to see those risky moves being made. Ethan Eckert, the only retiree of the night so far. Braxton Whitaker going to be 5 laps down. Jackson Carr going to be 2 laps behind. And the rest of the field is on the lead lap, going back to Alexander Balderas and Brandon Dugan, 13th and 14th respectively. 50 laps in out of 100. Balderas going to lunge down to the bottom side on Vincent Guecci. And now Vinny's going to be able to go up top there, use that momentum, and if he wants to keep the position, he's got to make something of it quick, as at the line this time by, Chase Schaefer is set to get that halfway bonus, and that he will. Let's take a lap on board with your halfway leader, Chase Schaefer, in the number 99. Now, in the final run of this race, Chase Schaefer, more than halfway in, finds himself out in front, and you can see that time by just under his best lap of the race, a 33.156, as opposed to a 30.014, which is the best lap he's had all throughout the night. So keep an eye out for Chase Schaefer. Right now, he's running real well, and he's got Ethan Stanley right there behind him, too, side by side at the line. It's not going to be for the leaders, though, as you look further back, and they're very close, even closer than before. Vincent Guecci and Will Shack, those are the two drivers that are just about as close as they can be down the straightaways, though. You'll see that separation, and Vinny's going to go down low. Will Shack going to be up top, 53 laps in out of 100, and it's going to be neck and neck for a brief moment, but Will Shack gets the spot right back, and now going to be Vinny taking it down to the bottom side. You see a very similar design in those paint schemes, and right now it looks like the paint scheme twins are running 12th and 13th respectively. Advantage Will Shack, as you'll see. Chase Schaefer leads, and Alexander Balderas is going to be playing some games in the middle of the pack there with Jackson Carr. These two drivers, they had contact before, and it looks like it's manifesting again, beating and banging down into the back straightaway. Does this mean anything else? And you'll see Jackson Carr staying in the backstretch in his own lane, and comes up almost into the wall. Balderas finds himself inside the fence. And these two drivers fighting outside the top 10 are getting real fierce. I'm not quite sure what else is going to come of it here, because Balderas and Jackson Carr, they had contact before, had that wreck earlier on, and now as we've gotten further on into the race, they're beating and banging once again. Number 95 machine is having a lot of trouble. Balderas really can't get out of harm's way, and for Jackson Carr, who's 2 laps down, his night is already going to be practically in ruin, so he does not know what else to race for here, but fighting with his former race rival. I don't think it's a former title anymore. I think they're right back in the heat of the moment. They might not be fighting for position, but they're definitely fighting each other. Jackson Carr gets loose. Balderas tries to drive away, and it looks like that time by, he does just that. So Alexander Balderas going to get away from a very, very upset Jackson Carr. Don't think that both of them were happy with each other at all, and luckily nothing else comes of it as these drivers are running oh so close to one another. Chase Schaefer going to lead now with Ethan Stanley second and River Page in third. James Thurston position number 4. Sean Conklin's going to be 5th. Kenny Reel then in 6th, and Daniel Mosteller position number 7. Michael Deitch is going to be 8th, and John Smith will be 9th, with Alexander Balderas rounding out the top 10, 56 laps in out of 100. As we move on now to 57, it's the Monster Designs machine leading the way. Ethan Stanley then going to be 2nd, and River Page is going to be 3rd. Thurston 4th, Sean Conklin is 5th, and Kenny Reel then is 6th. You'll see that Mosteller is going to be 7th, Michael Deitch is 8th, John Smith is 9th, and Alexander Balderas is in 10th. And you'll see now that number 95 machine once again wrestling with Jackson Carr. Carr comes up the track, going to nudge that 95, and there's going to be even more contact between these two than before. That one, well, hopefully it wasn't intentional, but given what we've seen, definitely two drivers who are going to be going at each other all throughout the night. Side by side again, and the battle rages on. Balderas and Jackson Carr continuing to fight. And Alexander Balearis, after contact before him, gets away once more. Number 95 machine very close to losing it all. My oh my, gets away and gonna leave us without any breath. How about that one? Breathtaking battle, and I believe it must have been a stressful one for both of these drivers. But Balearis knows he's still fighting for position here and wants to get up to the single digits. Running now in the 10th spot. John Smith could be 9th right ahead. Going way down low, Michael Deitch in the mix too. And Daniel Mosteller going to make it up to the 7th. This is John Smith immediately in the wall. And just like that, number 57 machine next in the clutches of Balderas. And that McDonald's machine goes way down low. Going to be a battle of the restaurants here. Jimmy John's up top and McDonald's on the bottom. Looks like right now it's going to be the Golden Arches with the advantage. And at the stripe, we'll see whether or not that's the same. But right now it's quite clear. And Jackson Carr is coming in hot as well. Daniel Mosteller going to be chasing down Kenny Reel for the moment. And you'll look right ahead. There's Kenny, not to mention Sean Conklin, James Thurston, River Page, and Ethan Stanley. But right now, it's been Chase Schaefer holding his own and holding that race lead. Not at all a bad night for the 99 crew, quite the opposite, and it looks like he's going for what could be his second win of the season. It will be win number 2 for Chase Schaefer if he gets it done, first of which came as a redemption race at Atlanta. Almost won it last season, ended up coming home in the 2nd spot. And unfortunately for him, he had to wait a whole season to get right back to Atlanta. He won it now, and that's what matters. So just like that, Chase Schaefer leads the way. Next is going to be Ethan Stanley. River Page is 3rd, and James Thurston is in 4th. Top 5 concluded right now by Sean Conklin, and the 5th place still held well by that 54 machine. But he's looking for a bit more here, and 62 laps in, he's going to go for it as they come through this time by the Ryko Performance number 54 machine. Runs in 5th. Kenny Reel then going to be 6th, and Daniel Mosteller is going to be in 7th. Alexander Balearis runs single file right now. The closest battle is up in front, and it's for the lead side by side between Stanley and Chase Schaefer. And Chase holds on out in front. He was oh so close to losing it there, but the backstretch momentum is once again what carries him through, and he takes it all the way down to the front straightaway. That's what matters the most. When you have that opportunity to make the time, make the speed, use that high groove if you can, and use the bottom if necessary, it's exactly what had to be done for the driver of the number 99. Checkered flag still far out of reach, but these drivers keep on moving, and right now it's going to be up in front. Once again, Chase Schaefer with Ethan Stanley 2nd, River Page 3rd, and then James Thurston in 4th. Right now, top 5 is separate by less than a second here, with Sean Conklin still in the back bumper of Thurston. Kenny Reel is right there too. So when it comes down to this, it could be even Kenny Reel getting in there. Sean Conklin and James Thurston not too far behind at all. And looks like right now we got to see if there's a bit more out of this number 54 machine. Championship leader, but still looking for the 5th win of his season. He's won almost 50% of these races so far. And coming into our 10th race at Road America, he had over 50% win rate. Unfortunately, ever since then for Sean Conklin, just not seeing that checkered flag once more. Still your points leader and had a tremendous opening to the season. And now with less than 5 races remaining, it's really going to be coming down to whether or not he just stays consistent. Given Daniel Mosteller is only now about 3 positions behind, any one race could shift the pendulum, and it could go in the favor of the number 87. It could go back in the way of Sean Conklin. Points, points, points. Every night matters more. Every race matters more now. And these final few nights will really dictate who's where. When the checkered flag flies in the end of the season here in the IORA Cup Series, you gotta understand every lap of the season is much more important than especially last, because no longer are we using a playoff format. This is a full season championship. So every decision you make on track will impact where you end up in the standings. And right now it's going to be Will Shack and Vince Iguechi fight with each other once again. The Margaritaville machines are going to be now once again side by side. Will Shack could have the advantage in 10th over Vince Iguechi, currently in 11th. Both drivers are battling each other at the 2/3 mark, and Iguechi's going to get a nice crossover there. Will Shack has no choice but to concede, at least for now. And 67 laps in out of 100, Chase Schaefer leads the way with Ethan Stanley 2nd and River Page then in 3rd. Conklin going to be 4th, Kenny Reel going to be 5th, and it's going to be James Thurston then in 6th. That's the way they roll so far, smooth up in front, and Schaefer's got the advantage, as he's now going to get back to the stripe for what will be lap 69. Chase Schaefer getting further and further out of frame compared to any other driver. You'll see there Ethan Stanley, who was oh so close on the back bumper just a few laps ago, no longer in the same zip code. Now it's Chase Schaefer on his own, running those laps independently, and now with nobody side by side, with nobody running right behind in his wake, no draft to really worry about giving off. It's now going to be all about these drivers behind trying to recollect what they've got, keep their equipment quick, and hold on for what will be the most important part of the night from this point onward. We are expecting one more pit cycle. 69 laps in out of 100. We're on a 27 lap run right now. So within the next 10 laps. That's what it's going to take for the driver of the number 24 machine. River Page is holding on for at least 10 more laps, and we'll have ourselves another pit cycle to wrap up this season. And rather, this race and the season, not at all. It's going to come down to the race here at Homestead. It used to be the season finale. Tonight, that is no longer the case. Season 3, if this was that event, that's where it would end. That is no longer the way it'll go. However, we will be getting ourselves a week off next week, as the IORA Cup Series will take a 1-week vacation, of course, in correspondence with the Thanksgiving holiday, and will return in 2 weeks' time to get things going once again. And Chase Schaefer knows, of course, he'd love to be a 2-time race winner by the time we head to our 12th race of the season. And coming out of this break, we'll head immediately to Talladega for the 12th race of the campaign. Then Pocono is going to be the 13th night, Martinsville the 14th, and Las Vegas will be the 15th and final race of the season. And the checkered flag will fall the final time on December 21st. And then it will be time to crown a champion, be it Sean Conklin. Alexander Balderas is not in the mix, but Daniel Mosteller is. Speaking of the both of them, though, they are now 7th and 8th respectively, as Balderas is now 2 seconds behind Demos. At 71 laps in, he's still trying to make it back up there, while Jackson Carr continues to hound this number 95. Jackson Carr, the lap machine, fighting with this race leader. Of course, he's let himself stay back. Lead lappers, that is. Different fight, not with the top driver overall, but still Jackson Carr 2 laps down and not fighting up there in terms of a position, but he's going to be keeping on with that number 95, hopefully until the end of the race for his sake. Definitely both of them not happy after that first incident that brought out the 3rd yellow flag of the day. Since then, though, a long green flag run, and now 30 laps into this stint, it's Schaefer and Stanley first and second. And it's the place to be right now for the Monster Designs number 99. Chase Schaefer, advantageous in almost 3/4 of this race. He's had that race lead now for about 20-some laps, and continuing to now try to pull that away 0.4 of a second back. You'll then see Ethan Stanley. He's gaining still more and more lap after lap. However, those gains are not as major, so you got to really wonder, if you're like Chase Schaefer, if you're someone in that position as a race leader, how can you continue to make time, continue to hold that advantage, and when the checkered flag falls, how can you keep what you got until the very end? 74 laps in out of a century of laps tonight, and it's going to be Schaefer still with the edge. Ethan Stanley then second, and still Sean Conklin's going to be third, with River Page fourth, and Kenny Real then in fifth. Top 5 going to be concluded now by Kenny, as James Thurston runs in 6th, Daniel Mosteller is 7th, and Alexander Balderas is then in 8th. Closest battle right now on the racing circuit is the battle for the race lead. Save for that lead battle, you're now going to see James Thurston making quick time on Kenny Real. Real is substantially slower, loses several spots at once, and now that number 11 machine drops back big. Kenny Real with some trouble, and just like that, the number 11 Jordan machine going to fade back fast. 75 laps in out of 100 and some troubles, but luckily nothing all too major as Kenny gets back going, loose off the corner, and that's going to cost him 2 spots. James Thurston first, and then Daniel Mosteller now, as it looks like now Demos only 1 spot away from getting inside the top 5, and maybe going to get a few more. As you'll see there, it's Sean Conklin, River Page, and they might be separate, but James Thurston is right there on that number 24. And news to say, James Thurston not going to rattle up this Miata gang machine, as the Ford Mustang running in 4th, definitely not going to be safe in terms of his position. and they can change at any moment. If there's a mistake made by River Page, you'll see up to the top of the track, James Thurston goes, finds that gap in that opening, and he'll take the spot in just one moment. It goes from River Page to James Thurston. Fourth place is the number 4 machines, and it's now going to be Thurston up in a fourth. Sean Conklin is going to be about half a second ahead. Then in there, it's going to be the third spot held by Conklin. Then Ethan Stanley going to be in second. Chase Schaefer is still the leading man, 77 laps in out of 100. Fantastic drive for him so far. It's going to be Ethan Stanley getting loose once more, and no other driver keeping it as perfect all night long compared to that number 99. It looks like now Schaefer really coming into his own, and it's great to see for that number 99 team, their second win of the season. It would be if it all comes down well, and Schaefer's been consistently quick all throughout this championship battle. Well, not maybe a juggernaut like should we say, besides Sean Conklin and Daniel Mosteller. Don't think there's any other way. It's still been a great season for Chase Schaefer, running right now 5th in the championship standings, and he could jump up a bit further and fight with River Page and James Thurston as Will Shack comes down and in this time by. He'll be coming in 35 laps in out of course, 100. He's ran on this set of tire. He'll make it in this time by, and a new pit cycle for the driver of the number 35. Will Shack is down and in and makes his way through. Just like that, another driver going to get busy on pit road, and with 79 laps in and 22 laps to go, let's crank it up with the best camera providers in the iRacing market, TrackCams22.com. With over 100 car and track combinations, TrackCams22 has you covered with the best cameras on iRacing. Once again, visit TrackCams22.com after tonight's broadcast, as we will crank it up with 22 laps to go. And Sean Conklin will spin and end the crank it up, and just like that, with 17 laps to go, we are back under yellow. Caution will fly, and we are going to find ourselves back under pacing yet again. And Sean Conklin, this time by, is the cause. Yellow flag is out. We'll find out just what happened here. Instant replay will show you. And it's going to be Sean Conklin running in the middle of this field. You saw him out on his own. It didn't look like anyone else was with him at the time of the incident. And looks like he just loses control. And will bring out the caution here with 16 laps to go. Take a look once again. And it looks to be a very honest effort to save it. I will say he did not go spinning, sliding around. You saw he locked down the brakes, tried to get it out the wall, but simply couldn't do much of it. Safety caution. Yellow flag is out. Sean Conklin, he is done and done. Yellow flag is out. And of course, when we talk about Ethan Stanley was done and done, he disconnected 4 laps to go. So Stanley's night going to be concluded as pit road's going to get busy. Now you'll see James Thurston, Daniel Mosteller, River Page all coming in together. And pit road going to get active here in the final few laps. James Thurston, Daniel Mosteller, and River Page, your top 3 coming in. And now 85 laps in out of 100. We'll find out got what it takes as pit road now might be on for the final time. Drivers coming in. Thurston makes his way into his stall. You'll see Kenny Reel right there too. And we'll see whether or not Thurston's got the strategy to go all the way. Does Chase Schaefer get it right back? Or does he? Because Chase Schaefer went down to pit road 3 laps ago under green. So he's got no reason to pit once again. He's going to be the leader either way with Daniel Mosteller making major gains. Thurston, Mosteller, Kenny Reel, River Page, Henry Kaloff, and then going to be Vincent Guecci. And around the top 10, it will then be looking to be either Michael Deitch or Alexander Balderas. Balderas now going to be sent back to 10th on the order. Caution is out. 15 laps remain, and this is a doubleheader tonight live on FTN. So if you want to find out a bit more about the Highline Racing League, here's a promotional that will help you out. Promo video for the next race on the tour here in FTN. In about an hour's time, we'll be live once more with the Highline Racing League as they go to Homestead-Miami Speedway for their season finale in the Services and Supply Premier Series. Check this out. We'd love to have you watching live at 9:30 Eastern, and we'll return after this quick break. Two broadcasts at Homestead tonight, and it's going to be the Highline Racing League up next, so stick with us. If you're interested in some Gen 4 stock car racing here in Homestead, we'll have that next for you live on FTN when we get back after this brief break. We're 88 laps into the IORA Cup Series here in Homestead. It's Daniel Mosteller on the bottom side. Chase Schaefer is your control car once again. Green flag set to drop one more time. Pace car going to be dropping in this time by. Green flag set to fly all over again. Demos is your race leader on the bottom side. Chase Schaefer, the control car, all the way. And here we go. Green flags out once more, led by Chase Schaefer at the front of the field. Pat gets away cleanly early into the going here. River Page going to be making a move, a lunge down low, 3 wide already. River takes it. He's going to go way deep, get down to the bottom side. Quick move there for the driver, the number 24, and that Ford Mustang is on rails. Nice move there to get up to second immediately. You'll see the mid-pack also going to be fighting hard and looking with an eye in the sky at how close these drivers are. Dugan's going to be right in front of Sean Conklin. Conklin pushes Jackson Carr up. Carr goes high. Contact between Dugan and the 54, and now Alexander Balderas is going to see River Page locking it down, and there's going to be trouble. Yellow flags out once again. 90 laps in. River Page will spin and take the back half of the field with them. Caution is out with 11 laps to go. Yellow flag flies again. Let's find out what happened here as we'll see an instant replay. And this is going to be, of course, Page running oh so aggressive to kick off the restart. He finds himself 3 wide, immediately takes multiple spots away. And then from there, he keeps on going. He wiggles first time, and that's going to get Daniel Mosteller right back up to him. Side by side, they will be for a brief moment, and Demos is going to be right there with River Page. Not to mention James Thurston also coming in as well. Thurston up top, River Page there too, and Thurston just gets on the back bumper and does not let go. Yellow flag and fly as a result. Kenny Reel, Sean Conklin, and it's also going to be Michael Deitch involved. The yellow flag, caution is out for what is now the 5th time tonight. And just like that, we lose another shot of the longer green flag run to finish off the night. We'll be down to the single digits when all is said and done. Chase Schaefer is your race leader. We'll be going at it with about 7 laps remaining. That's how much time is going to be left when we get back to the green flag here. So caution is out. Yellow going to be back on the track. 5 laps remaining. We got a bit more that we'd like to check out as the night goes on here. Weather is going to be largely, of course, fair conditions. It's going to be partly cloudy at 77 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 79 in the sky, and it's going to be northbound winds of 2 miles an hour with very low humidity. Partly cloudy indeed here in the Miami area. It's going to be Homestead, Florida in particular, and this county, the Miami-Dade County, coming alive with, of course, the best stock car racing in Florida. You know, that's debatable. There's Daytona, which is an incredible track in its own right. Not to mention New Smyrna, which has seen ARCA races, and it's seen its fair share of stock car events with the Gen 6 package of old. In addition, we've also seen some stock cars experimentally take on the Sebring circuit, also in Florida. So pretty hard to say that this is the best track, but when it comes down to the intermediates, I don't think there's any comparison in the area. I mean, Homestead-Miami Speedway, it is unique. It has been one of the headlining events every season, no matter if it's the season finale or not, and largely it's been one of those events that everyone comes down to watch because they'll know they'll see a good race and have themselves a time to remember here in Florida. Great track, has a great atmosphere too, and the fans have been roaring in the virtual grandstands all night long, and they're set to do so once again. Coming down this time by, it's going to be Chase Schaefer leading. Then from there, it's going to be Daniel Mosteller in second. James Thurston is going to be third. Fourth place is going to be held by Vincent Guecci, and it's going to be Sean Smith rounding out the top 5. Now, caution's out. 1 lap to go. It's going to be a 7-lap restart this time by Ethan Stanley and Braxton Whitaker. In addition with Ethan Eckert as well, your only 3 retirees. Remainder of the field, 14 cars are still on the track, and we're set to get back at it this time by Chase Schaefer leads him through, and is set to roll once again. Pace car is going to be on its way, and the field will get back at it with 7 laps remaining. And them side by side, what could be the final time. Any other caution will send us at least to a natural green-white checkered. If not, we will head to overtime. So very little racing time remains. And now it's going to be up to Chase Schaefer and James Thurston up in front to carry the banner all the way home. It's going to be the Monster Designs, number 99 up top, James Thurston right down low. That is your front row as it stands. And it's going to be 7 laps remaining to decide who wins here in Florida. Does your defending defending champion go back-to-back in Miami? Does Chase Schaefer find lightning in a bottle and go for a second victory this season? It's a question yet to be answered as they come to the Geico restart zone, this time by green flag flies, and we're back on the move, 94 laps in of 100. Balderas going to be down to the bottom side, the number 95 machine, Alexander Balderas, racing hard up in front. Rest of the field gets away nicely side by side for the most part here. Brandon Dugan, Sean Conklin, Henry Kaloff, John Smith going nearly 4 wide there. Nothing comes of it, and they're all so close. Luckily, no major issues. You'll see James Thurston coming across the stripe. Chase Schaefer going to be second, and Alexander Balderas then going to be in third. Up to the high side, though, he'll have to go as Demos is making moves. And with Sean Conklin fading back now to 7th, it could be Demos' night to gain points in the championship battle once again. 6 laps to go, and they're going to be going up and down the track. Chase Schaefer going to have that race lead for a brief moment. Now Thurston takes it down to the bottom side. Low groove going to give that number 4 machine a chance at the race win once again. 6 laps to go, and it's going to be Chase Schaefer up in front with the advantage now, coming down with only 5 laps remaining. And the checkered flag due to fall in a moment's notice here. Any move made now will affect and impact the finish more than anything beforehand, and it's becoming even more and more important to make those moves later in the going and make them definite, because if you can make them now and get away with it, you'll have less of a chance of being passed right back. Looks like Chase Schaefer, though, has got a lot of momentum, and he's got himself back in a very nice spot. James Thurston going to be up on the top side in second here, running up against the wall, very close to contact, and Alexander Balderas right there too. Demos going to be blocked twice over by that number 95 machine, and now Balderas is going to send it down to the bottom. James Thurston is going to go up top, and so will Demos too. Your 2 former IORA Cup Series champions take the same groove together now, and it's going to be 4 laps remaining, led by Chase Schaefer. It's Kenny Reel down to the bottom of the track on the apron. No major trouble there, and it's now Thurston running up top. Balderas the bottom. Daniel Mosteller going to be 4th. Vincent Guecci going to be 5th here. The top 5 now going to have that 0.9 in it, and Sean Conklin still has 0.7 of a second to make up here. It does look like Demos might be able to gain some points in the championship battle. Desperately needed points. Chase Schaefer coming across the line, 98 laps in out of 100, still has the race lead here. Daniel Mosteller clips the wall once again and runs once more in the 4th position. Alexander Balderas is still in 3rd, though. We'll see if this 87 machine can make his way around. Getting once again close, trying to make that lunge in the McDonald Chevrolet. Gets down to the quarter panel, and they'll be side by side now. Demos going to get a bit of a wiggle, but he's not going to give in just yet. 2 laps to go. This time by, they're neck and neck and side by side. You'll see Balderas is going to beat and bang a few times. They're slamming back to back, and it might be bumper to bumper soon, because Daniel Mosteller has not given in just yet. The Goodyear rubber, and the number 95 is once again getting that pull on the high side, and they're still neck and neck for the final spot in the podium with 2 laps to go. Side by side, making big contact. Demos knows he's still ahead of Sean Conklin. Can't risk it big, but he knows he'd love that podium too. It's a dilemma with 1 lap to go. Final lap, this time by for the Monster Designs number 99 of Chase Schaefer. In a night where he was not the expected driver to pull that victory out the bag, he's got the race lead, and with James Thurston, your defending champion, right behind, it shows that this is no fluke. The speed's been real all night long. Chase Schaefer's had the power, and with a lunge through 3 and 4, James Thurston washes up and washes out. Chase Schaefer comes out of the checkered flag in the Homestead-Miami Speedway and will win the Miami-Dade 150. Checkered flag is for Chase Schaefer for the 2nd time this season. Schaefer is a winner again. Chase Schaefer will get it done here. Victory lane once again suits him, and that's a fight to remember for the driver of the number 99. He's already going to get to burning down the house. You're going to get spun early and hope to get down to the start-finish line. But before that, let's get to you your racing results for tonight's event. Going to be Chase Schaefer winning from James Thurston in 2nd, Daniel Mosteller in 3rd, and Vincent Guecci in 4th, with Alexander Balderas 5th and River Page position number 6. Going to be Sean Conklin 7th, Jackson Carr 8th, Michael Deitch is going to be in 9th, and Henry Kaloff 10th. Then from there, you're also going to see 11th, John Smith, 12th, Will Shack, 13th, Kenny Reel, 14th, Brandon Dugan, and Ethan Stanley Braxton Whitaker, Ethan Eckert, and Casey Betts are your retirees as Chase Schaefer already burns down the house. And the motor will blow for Chase Schaefer, but it's a certainty the night is still young for this number 99, and there's a lot to celebrate. Back in the picture, fighting as hard as he can night after night to get these wins, and Homestead might not be a track you expect to see Chase Schaefer up there, but he proves him wrong. Even if you didn't expect him, no reason to doubt this number 99. With a checkered flag in hand for the second time this season, Chase Schaefer, you had the pace, and as soon as you got out up in front, you showed there's no reason to doubt the speed you have here in Homestead. The checkered flag is yours after a hard-fought night in Miami. How do you feel winning and leading almost half of this race?
I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. I definitely did not think that I was gonna have a chance to win this. This usually is not a strong track for me. At least it wasn't a couple weeks ago when officials went there and stuff. But I will definitely take it. We had a good race. He kind of came from the back. I had some technical difficulties, and we just kind of drove through. I was just kind of saving my tires. Both pit stops, my right sides were completely even. There was absolutely no difference in the wear, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was I thought it was a fun race. Some of the other drivers are kind of iffy on how the passing was for it, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I would just run like a lane up and that'd be it, and I'd be just fine. But seems some drivers kind of disagree. But yeah, it was a fun race. We had green flag pit stops, which was always fun. And yeah.
And night here, of course, we saw some green flag pit stops, saw a few yellow flags along the way, largely a clean race, just a few in between, and overall had ourselves a good night of action. So what was it most important to your race win that got you up here? Was it the long green flag runs, the pit strategy, or was it the short runs that really kept you up in it?
I honestly think it was the long runs, to be honest with you, Kreutz. I just had a better strong suit in the long runs. I felt like I was able to kind of keep my ground a little bit better than some of the other guys. But just also with the tire saving, everyone in the front for that first one was just kind of fighting their hearts out while it was we still had 60 to go, which I didn't think was the smartest idea, and I kind of took advantage of it. Caution came out, we had a restart, had a chance to kind of reset. But yeah, overall, just really good on the long runs. I think even if Conklin didn't spin out, I would have still gotten him on the pits because he came out and he was about 2 seconds behind me after he even pit before me. So that was pretty interesting to see. But yeah, it was overall a fun race.
And overall, the night goes well for you. We'll have a break next Thursday and return at Talladega. A tricky track, of course, anything can happen. You think you'll have another chance at that chaotic circuit?
We'll have to see. Talladega is definitely one for everyone. So we'll have to see if the cards go our way.
And hoping for the cards to fall well for this number 99 team. Chase Schaefer with a dominant run here in Homestead. Anything else you'd like to add after this race?
No, I'm pretty happy. Follow Monster Designs _ on Twitter, and that's it.
And there we have it. Chase Schaefer will get it done here for the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway, winning race 11 of the season. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
But Chase Schaefer on the move, he'll get it done at the top of the board and find himself back on the top of the order indeed. Checkered flag is for Chase Schaefer, and from there on out, we got our top 3 to interview, so let's go on to our second place man in James Thurston, and backing up the success, of course, you've had here in Miami, just a few tenths of a second away from the win, but overall, a solid run to keep you up there, runner-up tonight. How do you feel?
I don't know. Just disappointed, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I could have done better. I don't know what I could have done better. I did everything I could. I was gonna make it on fuel, so I was probably gonna win the race that way. And then we got a caution, and I mean at that point, I knew from there, Schaffer was gonna have the advantage because he had a cycle on his tires, and because we chose to run Homestead at night, for some reason, it's just, I don't know, the cold tires just don't work for like 5 to 6 laps into a run, and he had already run that. So I mean, just from the green flag of every restart, he was just lights out until the finish. I mean, I started running when I had gotten the lead on the final restart. I should have run bottom, could have at least packed some dirty air on his nose, but I mean, I don't know, I just didn't know that it was that fast. But I don't know. The Homestead and iRacing is just so weird. I don't know. Thanks to Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports. Congrats to Schaffer on the win. And I don't know. We'll come back next week or whenever the next time we race it is.
You know, you mentioned when we're going up next racing, well, that's going to be at Talladega in 2 weeks' time. So that's a track we've seen, of course, anyone has a chance. You think you'll have an opportunity to maybe head back to victory lane?
I think so. I'm pretty fond of these cars, the super speedways. I like them, but we'll see. It's just a matter of luck. It always is. People will say it's not. It definitely is. No matter how good you are, you've still got to be lucky enough to be there at the finish. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it is a good points day today, so we can't be too disappointed. Just kind of wish I would have had a little bit more for Schaffer there at the end.
Hoping to have a little bit more. Of course, James Thurston still with a second place run tonight, leading 8 laps on the day and coming home in the runner-up spot. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
And there we have it. James Thurston, second place on the night. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With James Thurston on the move, one more driver we'd like to speak to, Daniel Mosteller. And even though tonight didn't lead a lap on the day, still going to gain some crucial points over championship rival Sean Conklin. Works out in his favor. It's a podium finish. How do you feel? Checkered flag, you come home third.
Once again, I feel really good. I came back from an early crash. That wasn't a yellow on lap 11. So it was good to get that yellow to get back in it, and I had strong pace once I got back up with everybody. And if we didn't have that yellow for Conklin there at the end, I think I could have won it. I had just enough fuel to make it to the end, but yeah, it sucks because I really think I could have won the race if it went green, but we had that restart, and I kind of messed it up with Chase. But luckily he still won, and I had to go through a fierce fight with Balderas, and sorry for roughing him up, but I'm going for every inch out here, trying to make up as much ground on Conklin.
And going to make up that extra point gap. Of course, we see you're in the championship fight still. Didn't have the opportunity to lead any laps tonight, so not that race-winning speed, but you still know how to make the best of the situation. So what was it like clawing for every spot, despite the fact you just couldn't get it up there?
Yeah, as I said on that before the last run of the race, I was worrying about fuel. I think me and Thurster were on the same strategy, trying to save while Chase and Conklin, they went for the pit stop. I wish I could have seen how it worked out, because I feel like Chase wasn't going to make up that much time with the fall off and the 17, 18 laps he had, but it didn't get to happen, unfortunately, and I had to fight with my short run pace, which really wasn't that strong compared to some of the other guys.
Even if the short run pace, of course, not the best in the field, you pull through. It's a third place finish. Up next, your super speedway ace. And we haven't seen that luck in, of course, IORA just yet, but you finished second at Daytona. Talladega, you think there's a shot to maybe go for one spot more?
There's always a shot, but you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be make or break for my season. I feel like that's the last big hurdle. to deal with, because you really never know what's going to happen there. Anyone could win, anything could happen. I feel like on the normal oval races, I'm a little more control, but if I can get through Dega, I think I'll have a good shot at Conklin.
And hoping to make it by Talladega in one piece. It's a great way to set yourself up for the final leg of the tour. Daniel Mosteller, third place tonight. Anything else you'd like to add?
Want to thank Mason for off-tracking, dealing with the yellows, and you for broadcasting, putting it on. Can't wait to watch back on the calls. Everybody for racing, and yeah.
And there we have it. Daniel Mosteller rounds out the top 3 night with a podium finish here in the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And for Demos, the top 3 finish once again, but tonight it is another driver who might not be as big in the championship fight who comes home a winner. It's James Thurston second and Chase Schaefer winning with dominance as the checkered flag says his once more, and we'll tell you this much. Stay tuned, live on FTN in about an hour's time. We'll return with the Highline Racing League at 9:35 Eastern. We'll love to have you there. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the IORA Cup Series, and we'll hope to see you whenever we're live again on FTN. Thank you all for your immense support tonight. We're not done just yet, and we hope you stick around. But if you don't, we still hope you have a fantastic night. Thank you for watching the Miami-Dade 150.